Back with you on the Colin Carmichael radio show from Learfield. We are live at Fuzzy's Taco Shop here in Stillwater. And if you think the schedule has a bunch of new people on it, this roster has a bunch of new people on it. Coach, there are some familiar names, but you've had transfers and signees and freshmen and returning players, and it's a mix of a little bit of everybody.
Yeah, what we're learning is, as I think all coaches were learning, is with the transfer portal and NIL kicking in, there's just going to be a lot more comings and goings from your program. I think in our world in soccer, it was quite normal for 5, 6, 7 kids to move on each year and 5, 6, 7 to come in. Now that number's 9, 10, 11. And I don't know if I like it or not necessarily, but it's just the way it's been. And, talking to peers and other coaches at OSU, it's just there's more transition in and out of your roster. So what that means is, new faces each year, which is exciting. Maybe more freshmen, more transfers that come in. And
what they do is they put their name on tape and tape it to their forehead, and that's the way they can figure out who's who, like they used to do the football players.
I'll tell you.
Back in the day. But it's kind of like you got to have a program this year, folks, so you won't know who's out there.
Yeah, for sure. We do have a core group of returners that we're really excited about, great kids, great leaders. But, yeah, there's a lot of new faces. I think we got about 12 or so. So there's going to be excitement, and it's always good for the coaches. It's kind of refreshing for us. When you've got a Gracie Oakham and Ali Jackson that have done it with you for 4 or 5 years, not to say it gets monotonous, but, the excitement's not the same. You get these fresh-faced freshmen coming in and these transfers that are just trying to impress. There's definitely a little buzz around the place, which has really reinvigorated our staff a little bit.
Everybody's trying to figure out who's who. Everybody's trying to figure out what's set. And I assume you're running kind of the same offense and defense you have been?
We changed it up this spring. So we've been playing kind of a back three and some different things in front of it. We went to more of a conventional sort of 4-3-3 shape in the spring. It seemed to fit our team better, personnel that we had in the spring. We've stuck with it this fall, and that's our intention going in. But again, with all these new faces, when we start playing games, we might see 1 or 2 things like, we got to get this player next to this player. So I think it'll be a back four for sure, and what we do ahead of it might change slightly.
Okay, and again, personnel dictates a lot of that as well as you get into the season, and then it's matchups on teams you play against because not everybody runs the same thing all the time or at all.
Right. We've been tough for other teams to scout for the last 3 or 4 years because we ran a system that wasn't quite as common as maybe a lot of teams played. Mm-hmm. And I think that was good for us. But again, the personnel we had in the spring and what we anticipated this fall probably didn't fit. So we made an adjustment. And like I said, by the end of the spring, we felt really good about how our team was playing in that shape. And we stuck with it this fall, and it seems to be working pretty good. Obviously, we haven't played anybody yet, but Missouri will play something. They'll do what they do, and that'll give us a better idea of, the areas that we think we like and if we need to tweak it or not. And
Missouri has been, after they've left the Big 12, kind of been a common opponent sometimes in the season, but mostly in exhibition matches. I remember 2 years ago, they about ran us off the field down there in the area down at FC Toyota's practice areas down there in Frisco. They had a very good team, I thought, that year. A couple of those players ended up here.
That's right.
If you'll remember, after that season. So we'll see them again coming up on Saturday night. Again, 7 o'clock free admission. There's my shameless plug again. Transfers, and obviously the portal plays into that, but you signed some kids too. Yes. And tell us about some of those.
Yeah, so starting with the transfers, we got a goalkeeper, Grace Gordon from Seton Hall. She's come in and she's competing for that starting spot, and she'll play for sure against Missouri. We'll take a look at her and see how she does. So she came in. Ellie Jeffroy came in from OU. They had a coaching change, so a lot of their kids decided to enter the portal. Ellie's a kid we knew and recruited out of high school, so it was kind of a no-brainer for us. And, I'll say this nicely, I think she wanted to be here in the first place, so this is a great move for Ellie as well. And she's a wonderful kid, so adding Ellie in the back has been great. And then Nicole Ray came from Utah Valley, who are a really good mid-major in soccer. And she's a really skillful, technical kid, so she's going to get you off your seat. She's a kid that likes to dribble. She's very technical, 1v1, and she'll get the fans in. So those are the three transfers. The freshman class, we got a lot of them, but we had 3 kids come in January. They graduated early and came into the program in January.
Which that happens like it does in other sports in soccer, right?
Right, and it's become more common, to be honest with you. You got to start with Loudon Wilson. Loudon's from Kansas City. She's a potential star. There's no question about it. Great player. By the end of the spring, I think it's safe to say was probably our best player this spring as a freshman. And she's gotten even better, with the comfortable with her comfortableness with our team. So we expect huge things from Loudon. Addison Roberts came in, famous father, played basketball here. Keontae Roberts.
Right.
Addison's a wonderful athlete, very, very strong defender. And so Addison played great in the spring, and she's pushing to start this fall as well. And Grace McKim came in from Ireland. Grace has had some injury issues throughout the spring and even into the fall, so we haven't really seen the best of Grace yet. And then you go into the group who came in this fall, you know, some of the kids who have made an impact right away. Lexi Lee is from FC Dallas, youth system, one of the best high school kids in Dallas this past year. She's a forward, scores goals, so I think she's going to get people, you know, really excited when she gets on the ball. Her teammate Taryn Tebow has a chance to start in the defense for us, is playing really well. Aaron Morgan is another center back who right now is pushing for minutes for sure. Chloe Joseph, our kid we got from Montreal, Canada. We got her kind of late in the spring, and she committed. Athletic, super fast, and is really, first few days I think she's finding her feet, but the last couple of days she's really played well. Gosh, I know I'm leaving kids off. Katie Jones, famous sister JC Jones,
right.
Cowgirl legend. Katie's come in and done well and competing in that midfield. I know I'm probably leaving.
See, not all legends are mom and dad.
That's right.
Legends are sisters and brothers, too. We've seen a few of those here.
Yeah, we have. Adelia Gonda is a forward from Houston. I don't want to put undue pressure on Adelia, but her game is a lot like Courtney DK's. Very powerful, very athletic, tough forward, really good at holding the ball. You know, she's got some work to do to get to the DK level, but again, you know, even comparing her to Courtney is a real compliment to Adelia. So, yeah, just so many kids. I'm looking down the roster to make sure I didn't leave anybody off because there's so many of them this year. Make sure we touched on everyone.
Please, maybe I'll turn that over and let you
I think we got most of them. Let me just double check.
Some people can read upside down. I can. I don't know that Colin can.
No, I can't. I'm not that talented for sure.
Well, I ran the overhead projector in high school, so that helped me.
And we had one more goalkeeper, Carolyn Dill from Austin. Really, really highly touted goalkeeper. And, yeah, Carolyn should play this weekend as well. And
how many are you allowed to carry, by the way, just players in general?
So we can carry as many as we want. OSU really likes us to keep a roster of 28 for our roster management reasons. You know, the Big 12, I think the travel roster is 28 in the Big 12 as well, so that makes sense. Some programs will have, you know, 30, 32 kids. Some will have 25, really anywhere between that. We usually land on that 28, 29, 30 number.
Okay. I had someone ask me the other day, soccer keep it too deep? Well, they kind of do.
Yeah,
it's like football,
deep.
Right?
Yeah, we certainly want to have it too deep, and you have a few extra players too, because there's always injuries, there's always illnesses.
And there's people that can play multiple positions.
100%. Yeah, we have kids, you know, some play forward and mid, some play defender and mid, you know, some will play, really, goalkeeper's really the only specialized position in our sport.
We've had some here that tried to do both at the same time, and that worked often if you pull people up to try to score. And that, by the way, and it's another elephant in the room, doggone it, the American women's team at the World Cup,
I know.
They did everything but score goals. We've had seasons like that around here, so you kind of feel for them a little bit.
I do.
And they didn't have all their best players either. That's an excuse, obviously, but you got to put it in the back of the net.
You have to put it in the back of the net. And our sport, there's a lot of sports like that, but our sport, probably more than any other, goals are such a premium. I mean, it's the hardest thing to do in our sport. And, you know, you can play great, you can attack well, you can do all the right things, and sometimes that ball just doesn't bounce your way.
To give you an idea, if you have a 2.5 plus goal average in Division I per game, that's pretty good.
Yeah, it's really good. We would take that in a heartbeat.
Yeah, 2 is even pretty good.
Yeah, if you get 2 goals a game in our world, it's decent. Below that's tough. But, I mean, the U.S. women's team, they didn't play well in the group stages, in my opinion. But the game they lost to Sweden, I mean, Sweden's goalkeeper was the player of the match, you know. And on another day, the U.S. could have won 2-1 and gone through, and nobody would be upset. But I felt for them. But, you know, ultimately you have to score. And you can have all the play and all the domination you want. If you don't put the ball in the net, you don't win.
Last thing, and then we'll get to your new coaches.
Sure.
Before a break here. It has to make you feel good in the number of years that you and your staff, and a lot of you guys have been here a long time, to see the international play and then see people playing professionally. Kansas City is building a women's soccer-only stadium. Now let that sink in for a minute. That's never been done before.
Yep.
But they win, and that helps.
They win. They've got great ownership.
It's a great town, too, for soccer.
It's a soccer town. Good Lord, I saw some of the U.S. games were at 4 in the morning and 2 in the morning, and they had thousands of people in Kansas City watching live down in the little area.
Power and Light District,
yeah. They had the big screen.
Place is loaded, right.
Amazing. And for us, just to see the growth, we've got players, AD plays for the KC Current, one of our former goalkeepers.
Right.
Kumbaso just played for Switzerland at the World Cup. We've got, Gabriela Coleman was over in Australia playing. Kim Rodriguez is playing, just won the Mexican Championship with Club America. So, yeah, the growth of the sport has been amazing. And, to see some of our former players actually get to benefit from that, it's pretty surreal, actually, because we still think of them as that 18, 19-year-old kid in college, and these young women are out there playing at the highest level. It's amazing.
And it's not just now. There's a, shall we say, past history to this as well. The NCAA has allowed another assistant coach, and we have this for other sports, not just for soccer, but you also have a former player who's back in the fold. In fact, she buzzed us a while ago outside the place here. But, again, we'll talk about that here next. Again, soccer, Saturday night, Missouri in town, 7 o'clock. It's an exhibition match, so it doesn't count, but it kind of does because it gets you ready for the rest of the season. And free admission for that, and we'll have it on the radio beginning at 6:45. We'll talk with Colin about his new coaching additions. We come back after a timeout. We're at Fuzzy's Taco Shop on the world-famous strip here in Stillwater. And this is the Colin Carmichael Radio Show from Learfield.
You always have a blast